So, I decided to watch every movie nominated for Best Picture at the 2022 Oscars and rank them in a top 10 list from best to worst. Was this a good idea or worthwhile use of time? Probably not, but let's check out the list anyway. I will probably spoil a lot of these movies, but I'll give a warning so you can skip to the next chapter using the little thing at the bottom. Number 10. At number 10, we have the most important film of the year, Don't Look Up. I didn't hate this movie as much as I thought I would, but it was still terrible. For one thing, I'm already biased against satire, because as far as I'm concerned, satire died in 2016 when Trump got elected. But even putting my biases aside, it's not good satire. It's not funny or insightful, and it's the feature-length equivalent of r/political humor, where it doesn't even qualify as a joke, it's just people jerking each other off for how right and smart they are. Leonardo DiCaprio's performance in this movie is so bad. I don't know if it was his decision or director Adam McKay's, but Leo sounds and acts like Sacha Baron Cohen's professor character from Who is America. The rest of the performances are just one-dimensional caricatures, which are fine, I guess. Except for this guy. I don't know what the fuck this guy is trying to do or who he's trying to impersonate, but it's just endlessly unfunny tech billionaire satire in an annoying voice, and anytime he was on screen I wanted to die. This movie got nominated for Best Editing, which is a travesty. As many have said before me, Best Editing should be named Most Editing, because it often goes to movies the most conspicuous editing rather than the best. Cuts will happen randomly, sometimes too soon and sometimes too late. Sometimes scenes will cut when it seems like there's more dialogue left, like people are still talking, like the editor got bored and wanted to go to the next scene. I will give it mild props for the ending. Spoiler alert, if you want to see the shitty film, skip to the next chapter. Where the Earth gets destroyed, it's like a mild amount of ambition or whatever to have a downer ending like that, so I give it props, I guess. Don't watch this movie, and just to make sure no one gets the wrong idea, I'm not like a climate change denier. I just think the movie's bad. Number 9. At number 9, I have Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. And before you click off the video, I don't think this movie is bad or good. I don't like musicals and I feel entirely unqualified to rate this movie. The only live action musical I like is like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. So I don't know if this is a good musical or a bad musical. If you like musicals, let me know in the comments. I have no frame of reference to rate this. I didn't like it, but maybe for a musical it's really good. What I do feel qualified to complain about is the lighting. Most of the movie is lit in a really annoying way, with bright ass street lights in the background of these like dark street shots, and the lights are always flaring in the lens. There's always just glare, just lens flares. Anyway, if you like musicals, you might like this movie. I have no idea. Number 8. At number 8, I have The Power of the Dog. I know people love this movie, but I just thought it was boring. The cinematography was great, and the performances were too, but I did not care about anything going on. A good amount of the beginning of this movie feels unnecessary. There's a huge amount of setup for Jesse Plemons and Kirsten Dunst that feels ultimately pointless when the movie shifts to its true storyline, which, spoiler on this movie, skip to the next chapter. The true story of this movie is an unironic telling of Satan's Alley from Tropic Thunder for most of it, until we get to the twist at the end. So much of this movie is just homoerotic touching of saddles, ropes, and other cowboy stuff. The entire second half of the movie is just sexual tension between two characters I don't like or care about that results in a twist murder that I also don't care about. The only thing that really emotionally resonated with me in any way was Benedict Cumberbatch's character desperately trying to finish the rope for Peter right before dying, not knowing that Peter is the reason he's gonna die. Other than that, I didn't really get anything out of this movie. Number 7. At number 7, I have Licorice Pizza. I understand why someone would love this movie, though I do find the ending morally reprehensible. It is well shot and acted. Me personally, I don't like meandering, no plot hangout movies, especially ones that take place in the 70s, which to me is probably the least interesting time period. This is a movie where the tension comes from not anything in the plot, but from you and the audience worrying if the film will endorse a 15-year-old boy dating a 25-year-old at the end. And spoiler, skip to the next chapter, it does. I've gotten into arguments with people with them saying how the movie's not endorsing it at the end, but the ending is literally them kissing to happy music. People will say the movie is critical of their relationship and the ending is supposed to be bad, but then call the movie charming and heartwarming. I would have been fine with the movie if the ending was them realizing how inappropriate their relationship was, but it wasn't, and that makes this movie disgusting to me. This is a movie that in a few years people won't believe got made because of how gross it is. If you want to watch a movie about a similar situation that's not played as like a romantic comedy that also came out this year, watch Red Rocket, which is probably the best movie of the year, and it didn't get nominated for a single Oscar. Number 6. At number 6, we have another movie I have moral qualms with, King Richard. King Richard is a pretty good sports biopic. It's nothing special, but it's pretty good, I guess. But something I absolutely hate about this movie is how it frames Richard's asshole behavior and the dumbass decisions he makes as smart because of a foregone conclusion. We know in real life that Venus and Serena became very successful tennis players. So the movie uses our prior knowledge to frame Richard as being smart when anyone doubts his methods are wrong. Just because things work out in the end doesn't mean the right choices were made. Even without bringing real life into this, just on what happens in the movie, Richard is a terrible person. The movie has a scene talking about how Richard has several other kids he abandoned, and then doesn't even flinch 2 scenes later when it has a schmaltzy moment between Richard and Venus where he promises to never abandon her like his father did to him. This could have been an interesting movie about a dumb asshole who got lucky and failed upwards in life, using his kids as lottery tickets basically, which both in the movie and in real life he had Venus and Serena specifically so he could train to be tennis players from birth because he heard tennis players made a lot of money. But instead this movie paints Richard as a stubborn man with some flaws but ultimately wants the best for his family. Number 5. At number 5 I have Belfast. I would describe Belfast as non-essential. It's the type of movie you watch in history class and think, that was kinda good afterwards, and never think of again. It was well shot, acted, and holds your attention while you're watching it, but it takes no risks and doesn't really have anything interesting to say, and because of that, it has little impact. It isn't a very interesting movie to discuss. Number 4. At number 4, I have Nightmare Alley. I'm not sure it deserves to be this high on the list as it has a lot of problems, but I find it more interesting than a lot of other movies before it. Nightmare Alley is visually beautiful and full of great performances, but it's held back by a messy script. I'm gonna spoil this whole movie. Skip to the next chapter if you want to watch it. The first half of this movie is largely unnecessary for the second half, and the movie could have been 30 minutes shorter without losing much. Bradley Cooper's character transformation of the movie feels sudden and unmotivated. In the first half of the movie, I didn't get any hints of sinister undertones to him. I mean, he does lie to the cop and seems to enjoy it, but other than that, he seems like a normal nice guy, and then boom, the moment the second half starts, he is a completely different character and a huge asshole. Before the second half starts, Bradley Cooper gets punched in the face by Ron Perlman, and the camera focuses on him on the ground for like a minute. So when he's suddenly an asshole, I thought this movie was going to be about how a traumatic brain injury can change your personality, but it was just bad writing, I guess. Cate Blanchett's plan is so convoluted and requires so many things she can't control to go her way that the reveal is ridiculous. I do like the ending of him becoming a geek and being like the guy in the cage we saw at the beginning of the movie, but overall this movie feels like 2 unrelated movies as opposed to one coherent story. It's visually wonderful and greatly performed, but it's written poorly. Number 3. At number 3, I have Coda. Coda is a good movie that could have been a great one if not for its inconsistent script. I've heard people compare this movie to an over-sentimental Disney Channel or Hallmark movie, and parts of it really feel like one, but other parts are very well written and executed. It's like someone rewrote parts of a Disney Channel script to make it better, but didn't get to do the whole thing before they started shooting. The performances of the main family are great, and they carry the movie on their back through some of the cliche parts, but some of the side characters aren't giving as good of performance. The best friend character gets all the worst dialogue in the movie and gives me Megan is Missing vibes, and the music teacher is straight out of Glee. Still, it's a solid movie, and it's a shame the script wasn't better to elevate it. Number 2. At number 2, I have what I would call the first great movie on this list, Drive My Car. Drive My Car is an amazing movie if you like a certain type of movie, that is. I do not see the average moviegoer being a fan. But Drive My Car has great performances, a great script full of great dialogue, great cinematography, great everything. It's an amazing movie. I don't want to really spoil anything or go into anything in detail because it's better if you just see it. If you like movies about people being sad and lost in life and moving on from that, I highly recommend you watch this movie. Anyway, fuck all that lame grief emotional shit. At number 1, we have Dune, baby. This movie is dope. Everything looks so cool. The fight scenes are cool and the worm is cool. I love how weird it is. Most sci-fi universes don't feel alien. This movie really does feel like it takes place in a world that has completely different rules. I'm really excited for part 2 and I recommend you watch it if you like sci-fi. Once again, I don't want to go into too many details about everything because I think it's a better movie if you just watch it on your own. Anyway, that's my 2022 Best Picture nominees ranked. Do you disagree? Leave a mean comment below. What's your favorite Best Picture nominee? Comment that too! Be sure to like and subscribe for more content. Bye bye!